Hello, everyone. Good evening. Today we are here with a new concept, Roundtable. And my name is Aisha Sardar. I am the founder and executive director of Public Allies. It's awesome to be here with a new concept where we are going to talk about networking. And with us, we have today three of our experts who are going to be telling you how to network, why it's important, and what you should be doing and not be doing. So let me first introduce you to our experts here today. We have with us the very first expert, Jay Kantan. He is a highly successful entrepreneur and IT professional with over 22 years in business development, project management, and business transformation for Fortune 200 companies. He's the director of Sophia Hilton Foundation of Canada, executive director of Never Give Up Foundation, Peace, and was also past director of Canadian Tamils Chamber of Commerce and member of Markham Board of Trade. Jay is the founder of Avaj Future Solutions, and he's also an international best-selling author, social media influencer, and is actively involved with many volunteer and advocacy organizations in Canada. So that's about Jay. Jay, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much, Aisha.
Then we have Neeru Padmanabhan. You have all seen her a lot on this platform, and I'm so happy to introduce her today instead of she doing it for me. She was a former community social service worker for 13 years. She worked in shelters, addiction facilities, women's program, and counseling programs. She has worked with low-income families and individuals, seniors, again, in different demographics. Nehru constantly saw working individuals, entrepreneurs, families, all of them facing grief, illness, injury, disability, loss, and separation, ending up on her caseload. That's why she changed her profession, and now she is a licensed financial professional who helps those families achieve their financial goals using holistic tools across debt, savings, and protection. Her approach is to educate so individuals can make informed decisions, and her goal is same as her company's mission, that no family is left behind. Welcome, Nehru. It's so nice to welcome you today. And last but not least, we have Sharky Liu. He is the founder and CEO of Dentist Find, a results-driven dental marketing platform and marketing services that applies an analytical and data-based approach to increase new patient acquisition. Dentist Find has successfully increased the number of dental office bookings for its clients by at least 40%. Sharky is also founded the Sold Out Dental Marketing Conference, an annual event featuring leaders in the dental marketing sector, and the Dental Marketing and Social Media Fundamentals course for the Faculty of Dentistry at the University of Toronto. Welcome to you too, Sharky.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Do you guys want to say a little bit about yourself, starting with Jay?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say thank you, Public Allies, Aisha and Nehru. And I'm I know it's your first roundtable panelist that you're having, and I'm thrilled to be here. And networking is very important. And I know all of us met through networking, and it's a privilege, and I'm looking forward to having this a roundtable with you wonderful people today.
Thank you, Jay. Nehru, you want to go next?
Yeah, of course. Well, when we talk about Public Allies, we're constantly doing new and informed things. So a roundtable was very necessary, especially because we have a lot of people reaching back to us and talking about how networking is something that gives them a lot of anxiety. It produces a lot of stress, and a lot of people feel that networking is not working for them. So looking at, what is their threshold for results? What's actually happening when they're networking? Are they effectively networking? Are they networking with the right people? Or are they not waiting for those invisible? Are they too anxious and unable to wait it through, and they're not seeing the invisible results right now? So having something like this, having a roundtable is so fitting in this time with COVID and everything that's happening out in the business world. So thank you so much for bringing those ideas to us, everybody, and giving us that opportunity to talk to you and having these great leaders on our platform and giving us that great opportunity to share about networking. So off to you.
Thank you, Nehru. Sharky, your turn.
Yeah, I'm just excited to be here today. I love the topic. It got me thinking about what I actually do for networking. And initially, I didn't think I really networked in the traditional sense. And then I started thinking about all the stuff that I'm doing, all the great connections that I have. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's networking, right? So,
yeah.
and where I am today, all the things I can accomplish, all the people that I can reach out to help with through networking. And I think this is a very important topic. And today I'm going to talk about my perspective on effective marketing, and not the image that I get is you go into a room and then you just talk to as many people as you can. They'll make a connection. And that's not effective marketing. I've done that. It doesn't work. So I'll share with everyone today the techniques that I do, and that does work, and it does feel natural and something that you actually do enjoy.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. So let me just explain how it's going to work a little. So we have a set of questions which we are going to ask you, and you will be given 2 minutes each to answer them. Of course, at the end, we'll have an open discussion, and we will take in some questions which probably we're going to be getting. So let's start. What do you say?
You're ready.
Okay, so the first question that I have is, Jay, let's go with the first question. What is networking? Like, many people have, I have heard so many times people talk about networking, but what exactly is it?
Okay, so networking is a huge word, but I'm going to start off with my experience. So it doesn't mean it's wrong or right. It's just my experience of what is networking and what does it mean to me. I go by quotes. Surround yourself with people who can lift you up. So that is a quote that I go by. And what is surround yourself is networking with people. Like in the personal development journey, I was reading one of the important part. It said, your net worth is going to be determined by the closest 5 friends that you have. So for example, if you have 5 friends making $100,000 each, for example, your average income in 5 years' time will be 100,000. That's just a monetary value, but that's just a saying. So anyways, coming back to, then I was taking a look at my circle of friends, and I said, oh, wait a minute, now I need to go and find new people. And I'm sure a lot of people were listening, examining their own 5 people. So that's how networking started for me. So coming back to what is networking is, another thing that I go by is your network determine your net worth. So that is another point. So I don't want to give you a definition, but I'll give it to you anyways for the sake of, because you asked a very direct question, what is networking? It's basically an exchange of information and opinions and ideas to establishing a connection and values. That is what it is. People go out to network just to meet people in their industry, nurturing relationship and context for a mutual beneficial purposes. So that is what networking means to me. But that's what networking is.
And you're up. Your 2 minutes are up. Okay, let's break it a little. So Sharky, you want to go next? What do you think networking is?
So networking, just connecting with people and getting ideas that fresh new ideas, stuff that interests you. We can read books, all day, every day, listen to, podcasts, but to really connect with people and to build a connection with them and kind of to learn deeper, their experience and have them learn about your experience and really connecting. So that's, to me, that's networking. So for me, before the COVID, I used to do a whole events, live events, and we have up to anywhere between 40, 50 people up to 300-400 people that show up to these events. And that was a great opportunity for networking. It's great for me, for them, just to meet people, just have fun, just to relax. And a lot of people think that networking is all about having an objective, having something that creates value. Yeah, that's good too. And I mean, that's one thing to keep in mind, but also networking is just making friends, and talking to people that actually interest you. That's the most effective networking technique that you can do. If you go into areas where you're really passionate about, instead of going to events, just try to events and stuff that you're not interested in, but just try to pick up a client or find a mentor, to find stuff that actually interests you. It's something that you should actually enjoy and help you grow as a person.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Nehru, your turn. What do you think networking is?
Wow. Well, networking for myself, I used to think that I never networked, and I only started networking when I joined financial services, but it's not true. Even in social services, I was networking. I was building relationship with other agencies. I was building relationships with other workers. I was building relationships with the clientele that I serve. So networking is constantly ongoing, and it's done in every single community. It's done in every single business. There's no business in the world that can run in isolation, and networking comes to the forefront, especially when you're running your own business, because all of a sudden you're generating your own leads. Even if you have a storefront, you're doing your own marketing. All of these things now rely on you, and you're the one running your business, and you're the one who's reaching out to people. So just the same as Jay and Sharky said, networking is not only what you do to run your business forward, find clients, but it's also to find and make great relationships. So all of a sudden I'm in business. I'm no longer in employment setting. The individuals that I associate with are different. The individuals that I'm working with are different. The leads that I'm generating are different. And I'm cultivating relationships with like-minded individuals that are also running businesses. So this is where I'm going to find also a social setting. I'm going to find mutual leads. And yes, I might find a client. I might find some business, but really I'm going there to build relationships and learn. So the sum of what Jay and Sharky said, just to add to that.
Absolutely. I wanted to make a point to what Nehru said is, she's absolutely right. When it comes to networking, there is two types of networking. One is the in-person networking. You go to a networking event. The other aspect is social networking, which is very important. Social networking is like where you connect with people on social media, that Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all kinds of Twitter, like you can name a multiple platform. So for people to understand, networking, like I said, is a broader term. Within that, in-person networking, and there is social networking. There is different dynamics. I'm sure when we go further into the conversation, we can get deep into it. But just for the definition purposes, we need to acknowledge there is two types of networking that we have.
So what I get to sum it up, what all of you are saying is, when we are networking in our daily lives, we just don't realize we are networking. When we talk to new people, when we meet new people, when we make that connection, you don't actually have to go to a networking event to network, but you're networking all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So that brings us to our second question. Why is networking important? Who wants to go first? I have to say, raise your hands now. Okay, Sharky, go.
Okay, good to be first and always last. Why is networking important? Okay, that's a great question. So in business, we all come across problems and challenges that we have. And at that point, when you have a big network and reach out to network, it helps you find a solution to those problems. It helps you get new ideas. So if you're stuck or you find opportunity, I think the biggest challenge that we have as entrepreneurs or as people in general is that we always reach a plateau and we don't know how to get to the second level. And if you look back at all these level ups that you have, it was based on a simple idea that you have. For example, for me, a couple of things was changing my price point for my product and services. And it's something that I thought we could do. A friend just talk to me and you listen and say, oh, wait a second. No, we don't have to wait for this product to complete. We can start selling this product to the clients right now. And sometimes people just tell me about things that I just oversee. That's like, oh, you should focus more on reaching out to your clients, make sure that they're being happy. Things like that, right? So it's really simple ideas that bring your business to another level, either identifying problems or getting new ideas. So that's the importance of it in our daily lives or in our business. I think one of the biggest things that I did, biggest change in my life, the most effective thing that I do is taking cold showers first thing in the morning. So I read about cold showers in books here and up there, but then when I actually listened to other people, that created emotion attached with it. And that made me think that is possible for me. And I start doing it, right? Same thing with my friends. They all know about taking cold showers, but when they hear me speak so passionately about taking cold showers and the effect it had you on productivity, it makes a big, big difference.
Okay, that's lovely. Nehru, you want to go next?
Sure. My networking is so important, and it'll go back to what networking is, and same tying into all of those things is it helps you level set and bring forward what you need to do. Your peers. So for example, if I have a furniture shop, I'm going to look at all the other furniture shops. I'm going to see what they're doing. And that's going to help me level set my price, just what Sharky was talking about. It's going to help me see what's out there. And it's also going to help me recognize what isn't out there so I can fill those gaps in. So networking allows you to see that within a certain environment. So I go out there, I network, I meet different furniture store owners, and all of a sudden, I have a little bit more knowledge. But not only that, I start to meet individuals that are, designers, and they give me new ideas to create better furniture or more, furniture that's more sustainable for condo living. And then I meet individuals that are going to help me brand. Then I meet individuals that are going to help me market that branding and market myself and all of those things. So networking not only helps your business move forward and move to the next level, but it also helps you move to that next level, because the people that you meet, you start to create emotion and relationship with them. For example, we met through networking and now you love me. So
I do.
and vice versa. So meeting through the networking is just an opportunity to meet a new friend, to accept a new challenge, and to see where you can go as well. So all of a sudden, we know two great platform leaders like Jay and Sharky. I aspire to be like them. So I aspire to be as good as them in the networking world, because I'm only a year or 2 years in this sector. So as you move forward, networking has so many different levels and intricacies attached to it, but it's all about beginning somewhere and starting to understand where you fit in that puzzle, but always looking forward and moving up, because everybody that once started and everybody that's here was at the point that I am today, a beginner or in the intermediate level or, in the middle of it, but you're constantly creating an evolution of it. You're constantly revising the way you do things. You're constantly changing who you are based on the environment around you. So that's the most amazing part about networking.
Thank you. And you went overboard this time. So, okay, I'm not going to hold you for it. So, Jay, coming to you, why is networking important?
That's again, this is for my line of work. It is very important because it's a very good business tool. That's how I see why it's important. It's the most important business tool for me. I'll tell you why. Because of the importance this is basically an exchanging of ideas and collect information from people that you meet, right? At the end, what are you looking for? Because the importance is, what am I getting at the end of the day? I'm getting partnership. I'm getting new business opportunities. I'm making connections with the minimal effort of making connections. So that is why it's very important to me, because it is a tool to even get noticed. Like if I don't go to networking, even if I don't go to network, or I would recommend anybody who in the business line to go and network to get noticed. You're not even to promote your business. So that's why networking is important. It is the number one business tool for you to get noticed and build a partnership and whatever you wanted to achieve in the line of work.
Yeah. Folks, that's why networking is important. If you've heard Sharky, Jay, and Neeru talk about it, please go and start networking now. I agree with what Sharky and all of you said. When you see a fellow person talking about the same experiences that you've gone through, whether it is with your business, illness, or you're going through some personal issues, it always helps because the person talking to you can understand what you're going through and they can give you a better advice. So I agree with Sharky, coaching and listening to people, having that empathy and the voice which tells you it's very important. That's human. That's how we connect with another person. Mm-hmm. So let's go to the third question. And Neeru, I think you should answer this first. Should you go in with a plan when you network? How important is it, having a plan?
That's a loaded question. I think sometimes going in without a plan and just letting the cards fall into place is always a good thing. But if you do go in with a plan, don't have a plan where you're going to feel derailed if it doesn't go properly. So if you do have an objective, it's not a bad thing. Do know why you're there and know what you're going to say if somebody does ask you about your business. But if it's more of a social event, it doesn't really have to do with your business because, you go into networking events, keep an open mind, go with the flow. Don't be so hard on yourself and just start. First step is to walk into that door of a networking meeting, of an online meeting, jumping onto that Zoom meeting, and just learning to talk a little bit about yourself is where you start. But I don't think there is exact right and wrong when we're talking about beginners, but as you go along, you yourself will develop your own objective. You yourself will develop your own plan as you get to learn what you want out of it the most.
Okay.
Yeah, nice.
Sharky. Jay, you want to go next?
Sure. I think Neeru have covered it pretty good. For me, the answer is yes. Of course, you should go out with a plan. And I'll tell you why, because especially if you're an entrepreneur or a business person, you should know your craft. I know this is going to come up later. When you have a plan, you should know your craft when you're going in. So at least you should have your 30 seconds elevator pitch ready. So when somebody asks you, Aisha, what do you do? So you should be able to effectively explain it to them what you do. So yeah, so I'm going to keep it very simple on this one. Yes, you should have a plan.
Okay. Sharky, should we have a plan?
A lot of the planning is actually done before the actual event. So there's two types of networking for me. I categorize in two different ones: live events and actual online right? So with the live events, definitely you got to plan out which event you're going to, who's going to be attending, what the topic is, and that's the majority of the planning, right? If you are, looking for, if you're looking to network with, business people, it doesn't make sense to go to like a dance event, a dance networking kind of thing. So you got to be kind of particular on which events that you go to. That's number one. And then, know what your intention is. Talk to the right people. Know what interests you. And I think a lot of time is wasted. Your time, other person's time. If you go into a discussion and it doesn't interest you, you have to leave. And I think that's a thing that everyone finds difficult. Right? And then the second type of event networking is online networking. Now, what I've discovered, even slowly before COVID, was the power of Facebook groups. Like Facebook group, I think about a year before COVID, I just saw how powerful Facebook groups is and was, because whatever questions I have, anyone that I want to connect with, I just post it in these groups, and it's a great way to connect with people that are interested, that have knowledge that you want to get, or something that you're interested in. And I actually find that online Facebook connections is actually a lot more effective than in-person ones, because it takes you, if you meet someone in person, you're going to talk to them. It's going to take you 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Whereas online, you send them a message and you already filter them out, what's the background. And it's like 5-10 minutes to find the right person, and you're open to all, like anyone and everyone online. So, definitely plan both ways, online networking as well as in-person networking.
Thank you. Nehru?
I agree. There should be a plan. You should know your craft. But, if something derails and it doesn't end up being a perfect networking session, I have, because I work with a team, and I often tell everybody everything's experience. So just be better prepared for next time. But
I kind of asked you twice, I think now.
Did I know? Yeah, I think so. I'm like, did you want me to re-explain? So yeah.
I love you so much, don't I? But actually, what Sharky said is so true. I have been looking for some mental health experts, and Nehru introduced me to a women's group. I went there, and I found so many people out there, exactly what I was looking for. And I knew why I'm going there. So this time I had a plan. I'm not a very, I'm not a person who networks a lot, but then I connected with a person in UK, and I think I'm going to be talking to her soon. So it's not about boundaries. You don't have to be connecting with people who are around you in the same city. But then virtual networking has become a new platform where you can connect with people who are global, right? So I think that's absolutely right. It works for some with a plan. It works for the others without a plan. So just go network, whether you have a plan, whether you don't have a plan. So it's all the same. Okay, the next question, J. Jayakantan, what are some networking do's and don'ts?
Oh my God, this is a fully loaded question.
Oh, there are some do's and don'ts? Okay.
There are. So like
I'm listening.
So just like some of the do's, don't be afraid to introduce yourself. Like just be approachable. Try to be a friend first. Like don't go out in there and just shove your business card and always like push it. Don't be a push. Just you're there to make a friend first. So that's what you have to look for. And like when you are one of the things that you wanted to do is like when you are introducing yourself, keep it short and sweet, and be warm. Like listen to them, and that like. The other things that I would say for the do is do something memorable so they remember, or make a I always do, like when they give a business card, I always compliment on, because I'm in the logo and the design business, I always admire the business card with their logo. So when you see that, and then you make it relatable. And like one of the don'ts is like, don't be too thrusty, and like that's what I would say. Like don't go aggressive. Just be relaxed. Don't be shy. Be approachable. And those are the few points. Like if you're shy, also like don't be shy. Just explain, because they're like, most of the time, if you are afraid and if you're out of the comfort zone, the other person is also feeling the same. So it's good to understand that feeling, and then just try to be a friend first.
Okay, that's a good advice. So look for a friend more than a business, and be nice and friendly. Yeah. Sharky, what do you say? What are the do's and don'ts?
Do's and don'ts. So yeah, so I'd like to share a story about my kind of technique. So running my business, I have a lot of questions that I have, and like some of them, every aspect of my business, I have questions. So one day I had a question about clients. The client wasn't paying, and I wasn't sure what I should do. And this was somewhat of a troublesome client to start out with, because they asked for a lot of changes in the contract. And I thought, wait a second, this is like all my other previous clients, I just send them out contracts and they just sign it and just give me money, right? But this one is asking for all these changes to the contract, reading every single sentence. It's like, wow, is this kind of a difficult client? So I went onto a Facebook forum for marketing agencies, and I posted my question there. And all these people start answering the questions and kind of giving different perspectives. And a lot of people say this is bad client, some people say it was good client, but I saw one message, and this person said, when a client asks for all these details and changes, it means that they care. They invested in your product and your service, and this is actually will be a great client. So I reached out to the person, and I started talking to them, and he's explained to me his experience. He has way more experience than I have, and he just explained to me how this has worked for him and his perspective. And I told him that, well, the client have issue paying, right? And he kind of asked me, well, do you clearly communicate how they would pay? What options would they have? And he asked him what trouble that they have. I said, no, I haven't. So I went to the client and I was kind of talking to them, and they said, yeah, we couldn't figure this out. We couldn't figure out this payment system, but here's a credit card. And so that's been a client of ours for about over a year now, and it's one of the greatest clients. Very nice, always on time with payment, always give feedback on the product and services. And now, because of all the changes that they requested in their contract, now our contract is so much level higher that when we show it to our other new clients, they're impressed with how much detail we went into. So I just have this system, this process, is whenever what pops in my mind, I always just post it on all these groups and see whoever responds and whoever gets my interests. I just kind of reach out to them as, hey, I'd love to get your feedback further. Let me, they mind jumping on a call. And you'll be surprised the amount of time people will say, yeah, they would love to. And they're not selling anything. They just help you. And that is priceless. You can't even pay a coach to figure those things out for you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wonderful. So keep the client, and also keep the person who said that's going to be a good client. So you can network with both of them. Nehru, your take.
Do's and don'ts. So when you're looking at do's and don'ts, Jay and Sharky made great points in everything they said. So just to add to that, do more listening than you do talking. Have your 30-second elevator pitch prepared, what you're going to say about your business. And if somebody's going to ask questions, know your craft, know your business, know what you need to say for that, but also do more listening, do more question asking. when you ask questions, the individual, just like Sharky was saying, is, they're vested. They know, that they care. They know that you're listening because you're asking more questions about what they do. So, and when you're looking at don't stay too long in a conversation that doesn't serve you or the other individual. Don't hand out cards. Don't make promises. Don't try to give more than you're actually willing to do. So physically, when you go to certain networking events, and this is when I first started and I was brand new to Toronto, is I went to networking event and you just have people going there and they don't even say hello. They just hand out their card and they don't even introduce themselves. And I was like, oh, I got this card, and I came home with a stack of cards like this big. And so I went ahead and I called everybody, and they don't know who you are. They hand out their card just to hand it out. They don't want any calls back. They don't want to actually network. So I think in that sense, social media, like Sharky said, roots out a lot of that. What the person already does. You can get their information online, and you can ask those questions, and individuals that respond back to you, it's more pointed. But there is a lot of do's and don'ts that I've learned, especially in the Toronto networking environment. That's a little bit different from what I've experienced in the past in other cities. So it definitely is. Don't just hand your card out, and if somebody gives you a call back, don't be weirded out that they called you. Why would you give your card out if you don't want anybody to call you? Like, that's just awkward. So don't do it. Lot more don'ts than do's. So that's my take on it.
I want to add one more thing, Aisha.
Go ahead, Jay.
Textbook one. Like when you are maintain eye contact, that's one of the do's that you have to do. Like when you are introducing yourself, maintain a good posture, and then it's always good to greet them with a strong handshake, a professional handshake. That is very important. Making the eye contact, having a good posture, and the handshake. It's a classic thing, but it works because that's how people will gauge that you are a professional or you are a serious person to consider. And I want to add one of the things this is my personal anecdotal example. Don'ts, I would highly recommend don't do this because I have seen in a couple of networking events, people engage using slangs, jargons, and sometimes even engage in gossips, refrain from doing that. So if you're don't say bad about the host saying, why is this networking event? They told me 50 people are going to come. There's only 5 people. That is a no-no. When you're in a networking event, refrain from engaging in any gossip. That will show you are not a trustworthy person, and there you are judgmental. So you have to maintain a professional etiquette, even though some of the people that you're seeing. So that's what I'm saying. We can go on about do's and don'ts, so many experience, but these are the few points that need to be documented and to be watching out for.
Maybe we'll come back at the end where, you all can share your stories. But I love that, stack of cards. And Neri, you called them back and they said, who are you?
Yeah, I was like, you gave me your card at this so-and-so networking session. We met briefly. And the person one of the person said, why are you calling me? And I said, because you gave me your card and told me to call you. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm going to let you go now. Yeah. And I literally wrote on top of that card,
never call again.
Business with in the future.
Wonderful. So that is one card you should not lose. Okay. Yeah, that is so important. Having the do's and don'ts. I think this is very helpful, guys, giving people what you should do and what you should not do. That becomes very important. So coming similar to this, Sharky, this one's for you. So you said, what are the do's and don'ts? is there a trick to it, how you can be the best in networking? Or, when you go out to network, people should say, okay, forget about everyone. I have to go talk to Sharky. He's the best in networking. Is there something like that? Like, you
For sure. I think the easiest thing is to have a cool name.
Okay, Sharky.
So yeah, you have that as a conversation. That's a conversation starter.
Oh, yeah.
I think it kind of leads up to the 30-second elevator pitch. So before, so I used to be in fashion, and I got my line into Haute Renfrew, and we're selling $100 t-shirts, and I had no fashion background, and I was able to sell a lot of these t-shirts. You know what was the secret to selling overpriced $100 t-shirts with no experience, no background? Was that I pitch a lot. I went to so many stores for like months and months pitching my product. And I went to a lot of stores. I pitched a lot of stores. I pitched a lot of people. I had events where I paid money and I would do the pitch, and then I go home and perfect the pitch. And what was really good, what really helped, was doing a lot of these pitches within a short period of time. Because you do the pitch, the next person comes, you do the pitch, next person comes, do the pitch, and you know how to modify it. And initially the pitch was about 5 minutes about how great these t-shirts were. They were made of bamboo, they was antibacterial, organic, it was all these great things. And so I kept on doing all these pitches, and I've done probably over thousands of times of these pitches on stage, on TV, everywhere. And I was able to distill that down into about 45 seconds. So within 45 seconds, I can meet you and talk with 45 seconds. At the end, you're willing to pay $100 for my t-shirt, and you'd be happy and excited and think that you got great value for the t-shirt, right? So I use that philosophy for networking as well, because when you're talking to someone, when you approach them, you are creating value for them. You're like a magician. You're entertaining them. You're not bragging about yourself, right? So what I've learned is that you say a couple of points that you know people react to, and you see their response, and you kind of dig deeper into which area that they're most interested in, and then you kind of have maybe 4 or 5 different versions of your 30-second pitch, and based on see what the interest is in, then you go into that story, right? So number one rule is find what's interesting to other people and create value for them. You are entertaining them. You're not bragging about yourself.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful. Yes. Okay, Nehru gives a clap. Applause.
Yeah,
I know. Go ahead, Nehru.
I'm not going to clap for you again, Sharky, but well done. I definitely agree with Sharky in terms of when you're looking at networking, it's a numbers game. The more times you do it, the better you get at it. And your elevator pitch is going to change in accordance to which environment you're in. And practicing it over and over again. Practice your craft, know your business, know the best parts of your business and how it would be of value to another individual. So it's not about being the best at networking. It's about being the best at what you do and believing that. So it's not that Sharky is the best at networking, but Sharky is the best at improving himself, his craft, what he does, and believing in what he does as a product. And any gaps, any gray areas, he knows how to fill them. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, you can go out there and you can be in a networking environment, and once you understand your craft better and better, and you say your elevator pitch and what you need to say about your business over and over again, you will automatically improve, because it's a volume game. It's a volume game. Repetition is key, and it improves you automatically because it just becomes motor memory. You put me in front of 10 people, I will tell you in what way my financial literacy, my financial acumen will help them in their particular situation. because I don't know them that well, but I know my craft and I can entertain something that will be of value to them because I've taken the time and I've done it over and over again.
Amazing.
Jay, your take.
Yeah, like I wouldn't use the word trick. Like I have a couple of different strategies, and it works like a charm. And I'll give you a couple of.
We will be happy to hear that, Jay, because we don't want to hear repetition here.
It's all little strategies, but it's work like I've been networking for 20 years, and Gordon So, who's my partner, I actually met him and I have been to his all the events, and I have anywhere in Toronto. I have been to networking events where they charge $20, and I have been to networking events where they have charged $2,000. So the strategy may be different, but one of the tools that I can share it with mine, like we go as a team, and my business partner would go and meet with somebody, and then they will say, one of the trick is, oh, you know what? If they find would be an ideal client or somebody that we wanted to network, I wanted to introduce you to my business partner, and we edify our own team member, a business partner, saying, yeah, he's in the software industry, like they're going to come up with a new software, you should meet them. And we literally walk them through, or just call our counterpart, like your partner, and introduce them. So it works like, that's what I'm saying. It's not a trick, it's a strategy. So you identify your partner and you connect with them. Sometimes, because I come from two different backgrounds, right? We have a networking organization, and I also in the software. So when you're talking to someone, if they're new, then you'll say, you know what, if you need something, this is the person that you should be. It's always pays to listen and make the connections that helps them. Always, like they always say that, right? Like God has given you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use it proportionally. Always listen, listen, listen. So that is a key strategy when you're in networking. Listen what they are looking for. And if once you listen to them, they will be more happy to say, oh, what do you do? So because I don't say anything until they ask me, what do you do? Then that means they are open to listening. So that is one of the tools that I'm going to tell you. And another quote that I really like is, you don't get a second chance to make your first impression. So always dress well and be approachable. And approachable is the key. It comes in many different categories. It's one of the strategies, like smile. When somebody is coming, if you smile and if you are welcoming and shaking hands, they are more apt to come and talk to you. Like if you are just grabbing your coffee, which I tend to do in my early days, and go out and say, how do I tackle this? So that is one of the strategy. I have many, but eventually I'll tell you a couple of more.
Oh, that is wonderful. I think we got a gist of quite a few strategies here, which are wonderful. Like repeat your elevator pitch, then have a smile. Definitely, guys, you didn't come up to this platform just like that. I had a smile and I was really very approachable. That is why you all are here and we are networking today, in a sense, right? So have that, have a smile, have a person who can edify you. It always helps because, you can't meet everybody. Maybe they will meet a few people who could be helpful for you, right? So yes, that's wonderful. Nehru, let's go to the next one. How has networking changed your life?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think that networking has changed my life because it's introduced me to new people. It's introduced me to new concepts, and it's helping me improve in so many ways because I'm getting to listen to other people's experience. So when I get to listen to Jay, when I get to listen to Sharky, I pick out all the great points about them and I get to reinvent myself. So it's not only helping me in business, but it's helping me socially. It's helping me in my own personal development journey as well, because you aspire to be the best version of yourself. And, I don't really need to set a map up. I don't need to reinvent the wheel when I have individuals like Sharky and Jay that are leading that path. I just walk the path that they're walking. And you continue to meet amazing people when you're networking. And we know as well, because when we're doing interviews, when we're talking to people, we get the opportunity to get introduced to more and more people through different endeavors that we do. And there's more opportunities that's related to networking. My mind can only think so many things at a time, but when I network and I meet somebody and they introduce a concept to me and they say, hey, did you ever think about doing it this way? Or did you want to partake in this? Just for example, like we came up with the roundtable, and Jay helped us improve that idea. We said, hey, Jay, you come on this. And then we said, hey, who else? Then we said Sharky. So the ability and the opportunity to meet Sharky, to listen to what he had to say and bringing him on this platform. So networking not only has the ability to improve yourself, your business, but it also has the ability to improve your personal growth. And it just gets better and better as you do it. So don't go into networking just looking for business, because it's not just a business opportunity. Networking is a life opportunity.
Wow. Thank you, Nehru. Jay, you said you've been networking for 20 years. So definitely it must have changed your life and your business in some way. How did it do that?
So you've been networking since you were 2 years old?
Wow. I'll tell you a very cool story. Like it's going back to surrounding yourself with people who can lift you up. I went to the Canadian Tamil Chamber of Commerce since I read the book Think and Grow Rich. So that's how all started for me, because I said I cannot do the same thing. I had to do something different. So when I went to the Canadian Tamil Chamber of Commerce, there was 1,500 members, and they were high caliber people. Literally, I have been to had lunch with Prime Minister of Canada, and I got introduced to work with our sitting MP Mary Ng, who's a Minister for Small Business and stuff, small business and innovation. So how networking has changed my life is it has started from day one, because it's not what you know, it's who you know. It has introduced me to one of my mentor, Kula, and he has opened up so many business ventures. Even today, I had a chat with him and say, I have this business idea. What do you think? He said, yeah, come. And he gave me 1 hour coaching. It's all because I went out and I asked, and that's how it changed, but through networking. And the recent one is through COVID time. Like I said, we started a platform called Landed for Success with my co-founder, Gordon So. He's been in the networking industry for a very long time, 20, 25 years. And I know him for close to 15, 20 years. We started off this new venture. It's because of networking. So I can tell you, every year through networking, my life is being changed for the better. And the people that I'm meeting, the people that I'm masterminding, and like even you guys, like Nehru, and like having like 2 years ago, I didn't know you guys, but now we are sitting in this platform. It's all because of networking, because networking is not important. I would say networking is necessary. Whether it's an in-person networking or a social networking or a virtual networking, there are so many ways to network. I would say network will change your life. And it's not only change your life, it will determine your net worth. The more you network, your net worth is going to go up.
Wow. So if you want to increase your net worth, start networking now. That's what Jay is saying. Sharky, do you agree?
I agree.
What is your story? How did networking change your life and your business?
So one thing that I started to do recently was, if I see some cool software application online, I always message the owner and just gave them praise. And I praise them online, like in Facebook groups. I joined the Facebook community, start just praising them, and just message them privately and just start praising them. And I do that just because I was actually just impressed with what they do with the software. And I'm a software developer myself, and I use a lot of software, and I love testing software. So I started doing that, or just great designs, right? Anything that I appreciate, I just really, I just post online, message them, and then and I always ask them, it's like, hey, here's some feedback, like what can I do for you? How can I, help you? And there's one software that I use. I was using a software. So all my team members are virtual even before COVID. And I have a software that tracks how productive they are, right? And the one that I was using was just horrible. It was difficult to use. It didn't provide much data, but it was the only one that I found. And there's new software came along and looked really good. So I reached out to the owner of the software and said, I just love the software. It's great. It's amazing. And then so we went on had a call, about 1 hour call, and then we became really good friends. And I provided good feedback about the software, about the tracking software, and he implemented many of the features into the software. Like most of the software now it's been kind of designed in a way that matches my workflow. And it's like, well, that's amazing, right? A software that's designed particular for me. So I think that's been really helpful. And because they're smart people, because they're people that you look up to, they have a strong network. So with this particular person, he gave me feedback about my business. He's a really smart man, traveled to many different countries, and he worked for one of the big consulting firms. And so he had really good insight, and he helped me with my business. He introduced me to other great people, because when you find great people like that, like with design or with software, they know other great people, right? So, and they know a cluster of good people, and I kind of got into somewhat of that group. So this been just really helpful. And if I need any introduction, they know me, they can actually endorse me. It's not like, oh, here's Sharky, here's a person that does this. It's like, here's Sharky, he's a great guy. I spoke to him, I trust him, go speak to him.
Yeah, that's like what Jay said, surround yourself with people who will lift you up.
Yeah.
Was that the quote, Jay? Am I saying it wrong?
There's a couple of different versions of it. Surround yourself with people who can lift you up, or surround yourself with people, positive people who can, like, there's many versions of it. So there's no right or wrong here. You did it right.
Nehru, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add something. So a lot of people wait for, they want immediate results. Networking, now that I've learned, now that I'm talking to more people and individuals like Sharky, Jay, and even yourself, it's not something that, it might happen immediately, but it might not. Be ready to wait it out. Be ready to cultivate and build those relationships. Be ready to learn. And those things are called invisible results. It just means that it's building and it's compounding in the background. And eventually when somebody's ready, or when you're ready to take it to the next level, you will. So it's not about having immediate results when you're networking. 2% of people, or even 1% of people will network with you right away and give you business right away. But most of it builds up over time. And as you're building, they're building. And somewhere in there, later on, even I think Jay was saying 15 years later, he had somebody come to him that he'd been networking with, and then they did business 15 years later when they were both ready and it made sense. But at that time, during that 15-year time slot, they had both level setted their business in different degrees, and it had grown to such different levels. So, and I think when Sharky's talking, that's a lot of his example as well, is take time to cultivate those great relationships, because you never know where they're going to go, and they could be way better than just getting that immediate business. So just wait for it. It'll happen. Just keep on doing it. Start somewhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Nehru. What you're saying is reminding me of another quote that I enjoy. It's a very important quote, actually. People will only do business with people who they know and trust. Let me say that again. people will only do business with people they know and who they trust. So in networking, Nehru is right. Building that rapport, building that relationship is not going to happen right away. Just because you go to a networking event, you're going to meet people and then come, like Nehru said, you're going to come with a stack of business card. The business is not going to happen. It doesn't work that way. It's like the motivational tapes that we listen to. You have to go out there. You're the person that you're going to do, or you're going to make a joint venture partner, or you're going to do a business with. It's going to be somebody that you know, and it could be their friend is the one that you're going to be doing business with. So you'll be networking with somebody, but that connection over time build good friendship or good rapport. They will introduce to your potential client. So I completely agree with what Nehru is saying, because it has happened to me personally over the years. So that's amazing, Nehru.
Yeah.
Raki's example is good.
Yes. Why do you think we invited you guys here? Because we know that you are giving good examples and you will give good answers, right? Okay, now we have heard for past 1 hour, almost an hour, about what you have to do, how you have to do, what are the do's, don'ts. But a very good question arose that, Sharky was talking about elevator pitch. And then Nehru also spoke about it. You also spoke in some sense, Jay. Yes. So it is very difficult when you're meeting, especially people on virtual networking events. It's very difficult because you don't have enough time and you're not meeting one person and you're meeting so many people in that 1 hour. You have to be quick. So what should the elevator pitch be like? And why is it important in today's landscape? Like, can you say, like, how it has to be done, why it has to be done, and why that is important? Jay, you want to go?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, because everything is people's attention span is to, like I said, remember I was telling you earlier, you don't get a second chance to make the first impression. So if you, the term that elevator pitch came in is, it usually, if you got on an elevator from the ground floor and if it goes to the 14th floor, it takes 30 seconds. So you have, let's say you are meeting somebody important within that elevator, and then you're going to get their attention and pitch their idea. That's the time that you have, 30 seconds. That's why that the term elevator pitch comes from. So yeah, it is very important. Like if you cannot explain your business within 30 seconds to somebody, that means you don't even know your business. I know it's very harsh to say it, but that's why, like Sharky and Nehru was explaining it earlier, know your craft. That 30 seconds, it's your commercial and it's knowing your craft. If you know your craft very well, you can articulate that and convey that idea within that 30 seconds. Because I would say it's your commercial, and 30 seconds is very important, because that is the industry standard, because that's what people's attention is. Like if you cannot, like I said, I'm repeating myself, if you cannot, but it's important and it's worth repeating. If you cannot explain your business within 30 seconds, you have to go into the drawing board and craft that art. It's not wrong. You just have to sharpen that tool. Like that's what I would say about the 30 seconds elevator pitch, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah. Sharky, you already told us that, you started with 5 minutes and you brought it down to 45 seconds, right? How difficult or easy was it? And why was that important? Is it because people didn't have time, or you were in a hurry to go to the next one?
Yeah, so that happened because I used to do, so with my fashion line, we used to sponsor like pageants, beauty pageants, and events, and there's an intermission, right? And this intermission is about 15 minutes, 20, 30 minutes. And that's where everyone comes out, and all the sales was done during that time. So you have lots of people coming by and you have to talk to like lots of people over and over and over again, right? So that was kind of the environment I was in to push me to brought it down to 45 seconds. And that has helped a lot, right? I mean, it's like, okay, so you can make $100 in 5 minutes, or do you want to make $100 in 45 seconds, right? So just by doing that, I multiply, my earnings by 6 times, right? So that's how it became. But now that with so many people using social media, the attention span is so much shorter, that it's actually helpful to have that in 45 seconds. So when I meet people, I always have maybe 1 or 2 sentences to start, see how they relate to that, and then kind of finish my second half, right? So it's not like I'm just going to talk for 30 seconds nonstop. I'm going to talk for maybe 10 seconds, see how they react, and then kind of go. It's more like a conversation than really a direct pitch.
Yeah, but was it helpful only then during the beauty pageants, or is it helpful even now in your business? Like, having that
for sure.
short pitch.
Even now, right? I mean, even now, it's like, do you want to listen to me for 5 minutes, or do you want to listen to me for 45 seconds to get the same idea?
Oh,
right? So it has trained my mind to condense content for people, and so it's super helpful. I mean, it goes beyond the 30-second pitch. Everything that you want to communicate, even with my sales pitch or my message to my employees, is like, how do I condense this so that they can comprehend this? Because the more you say, the more they have to try to remember, figure out what's important. But if you say as short as possible, it's really really effective.
Oh, okay. Neeru, your take on this?
I agree 100% with Jay and Sharky, and just adding to it, make it short and sweet. Pick out the major points of your business, and continue to just leave the individual with, this is how I can help you. And but listen first. It's so important to listen, and that's where you can kind of grab what they're looking for. And that gives you the opportunity to cater that approach a little bit better, because you're really there to entertain them, as Sharky said, and to sell to them. And you know what? It's really, really important when you're doing that 30-second pitch is don't rush through it. Make sure your words are clear and concise, and less is more. And that's really, really important. So, and always look at how you can make a response with less words. So it's so important when you add all of it together, and it'll continue to evolve and improve as you do it. Just start somewhere, and you'll figure out, you'll get to that 5 minutes, to that 45 seconds, down to that 30 seconds. Once you start doing it, it won't be the hardest thing in the world.
Yeah. So it is not for people who like to brag about themselves or talk about themselves. So just stay away. It is only for people who want to do business with more people, and give them the quality time that they need and not bore them, right? So yes, so those were our questions for today. Anything else you guys want to add, please go ahead and do it. It's an open floor now.
I wanted to make another point. Thank you, Aisha, because we talked about networking, which is great. And I'm as a host, you asked some great questions, and I'm thankful. But I wanted to document something because of COVID, the time that we are living right now. The networking has shifted into virtual and Zoom, online, Facebook. So there's a whole bunch of new stuff, etiquettes I wanted to call, it comes into play. So all this time we talked about the traditional in-person networking. I know we touched on some etiquettes. There are, and I wanted to put this to Public Ally as a request. You should find some experts on how networking done virtually, and what are the do's and don'ts for some people, because like this is great because we're going to go back to normal. But as leaders, we need to think how we can help your followers, members. What are the things that I know we don't have time? I think that's one of the things that I wanted to put it on the table, that you guys should consider coaching and mentoring people of the etiquettes of online networking as a separate session. You don't have to have me, but I'm just saying that you should do that.
Sure, Jay, we will take that also into consideration, not having you. Sharky, you want to add something?
Yeah, I did. So I just want to add a few kind of pointers, tips for people to focus on. This is very important. Number one is have a niche. So with the 30-second elevator pitch or in your introduction, have a niche so that people know exactly what you're focused on. Second thing is create value for other people, and that relates to niche. Like for me, I do a lot of marketing. I do a lot of marketing. And I was when I was getting my haircut, I was talking to the salon owner, and you know what, that was for that I think for that 30 minutes, that was I think the most valuable 30 minutes for him, because I gave him a lot of tips. And these are data analysis and learnings that I've learned over the last, 20 years. So I started learning when I was 2 years old, just like Jay, right? Last 20 years, I have knowledge that I share with him. So make sure that you create certain areas, expertise where you can create value for other people. You can also create value by promoting or endorsing them or engaging on their online communities as well. And lastly, do what you like. That's how you should start out with. When I would start messaging people online about their products, I just love it. I just love the product. I just go online, I just start chatting. And then from there, I just kind of build relationships. I had a mastermind for about a year, about 2 years, mastermind. And one person was from Colorado and one person was from New York City. And we met because we were watching an online webinar, and then people were interacting in the comment section. And this was actually 5-6 years ago, before there was such a thing as webinars. And we're just there watching, and we just started talking to each other. And I was watching because I was enjoying it. And they were watching because they were enjoying it. And so we had something in common. And then we also connected with someone else who became like a YouTube star. He has over, I think, several million followers now. And then when I met him, he had 0 followers. He was just starting on YouTube. And he was really smart, hardworking guy. And we just started chatting, and now he kind of just blew up, right? So just do what you like, and things will kind of take care of itself.
I think that's when we're getting to it, I think you guys have summed it up. Do what you like, talk about what you like, and know about what you do. But in that same sentence, have passion for what you do, and it'll automatically craft itself because you believe in who you are, what you do, and that becomes your identity. But read good books. Introduce new knowledge to yourself. You cannot fix a problem from the place that it came from. You always need to introduce some new knowledge. So that was Albert Einstein who said that a problem cannot be fixed from the place that it was created. You need to create and put new stimuli in. Either it's new people that you're listening to, you're getting coaching from through a mastermind, webinars, or you're reading good books. There's a lot of business books out there. And How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. He always says, see how you can benefit the other person first. See how you can compliment the other person first. So as we're chatting, a lot of these tips have been embedded into our conversation. And Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. A lot of what we said is in these books. So sometimes you'll learn this information as you're talking to people, and sometimes you'll learn this information from reading, but always be looking to improve yourself. And as you improve yourself, your business will improve. So these, I feel that these two guys that have been networking for 2 years, they've also been personal developing for 20 years. So, like they've also been doing that as well as networking. So it's a great opportunity to be included in this panel with you guys. So thank you very much.
That's wonderful. We have a very good friend of ours asking a question. What if a guy is having a bad day? Like for networking, I guess. What do they do? Who wants to answer? Sharky?
Make him laugh, right? I think that's what I do. Just just like don't don't fight fire with fire, right? Don't make yourself have a worse day than the other person. Just make them laugh, be positive, make them laugh, and listen to them. So,
from my point of view, if you solve one problem, you make one profit. If you solve two problems, you make two profit. So if this person is having a trouble, listen to him and see what's the problem. And if you can solve that problem, either you made a friend or you connected with that person. So it's about, again, what we said earlier, listening to them. And everybody have a bad day, but it's just being there, being empathetic, like being at a human level. It's like Nehru said earlier, listen to that person. Why is he having a bad day? Maybe he wanted to come and network, his car broke down. So you say, do you want to ride? I don't know. Whatever the problem is, listen to them and provide the best solutions that you do. So again, that's your opportunity to make that connection and be there for that person.
But what if I am having a bad, I'm going to a networking event and I'm having a bad day? And I go and I'm like irritated looking at the faces. So many people. Why did everybody turn up today? I didn't want to meet so many people, right? So
then
what do you do?
Grab a coffee and muffin and go sit in the corner for until you get your posture, and then go to network. Because that's why they have a coffee at every networking place.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Nehru, what do you want to say? Have you ever had a day like that, like you're having a bad day, but you have already promised somebody you're going to a networking event and you end up there, but you don't like it? What do you do?
I have. I think a lot of people have, but you're just you're true to your promise, you're true to your craft, and it just becomes muscle memory to be to behave in a certain manner when you get out in public. And remember, don't go in with a plan. You don't have to be 100% all the time. And learn to forgive yourself. So I come from a counseling background, a mental health background. If I told you, Sharky, I don't really care about that $100 t-shirt, except I actually really want to see the $100 t-shirt. I wonder if you have one to show us. But what if I said, oh, that's an ugly t-shirt. That's an ugly t-shirt. I don't want to see it. And I say, Jay, you know what? I don't care about your working, and I don't care about your networking platforms. And, you're going to think that, I'm mean, I'm terrible, but look what
right now Sharky doesn't like your comment.
Yeah, Sharky's like, let me show you that t-shirt. But I do worse to myself. So learn to forgive yourself and move forward. Yeah. That is the best gift you can give yourself, because what you're going to do is you're going to ruin that networking event, and you're probably going to ruin the next day and the day after, because you're going to regret how you behaved in that networking event. Just let yourself relax, be the best you can be, and forgive yourself, and there's life. And the next networking event, you can be even better.
If you can learn to turn adversity into your strength, you will win. I'll tell you one of my example. It really happened because there was a networking event in downtown Toronto. It was a rainy day, and me with the glasses, and I couldn't see, so I had to park on a car. Like, it was a building. It was narrow. Like, before I went into the thing, I scratched my car.
Whoa.
So, like you said, very in a bad mood. But I was already there, paid for parking, scratched it, and parked it. So I said, I'm going to go there, because you cannot just take the car and leave, right? But when I went there and somebody was saying, oh, Jay, you always smile. Why are you being grumpy today? And because what happens when you start networking, we think it's a big world, but it's like you will have your friends and from different networking groups, so to speak. Anyway, so this person, I was telling, I came to network and I wanted to do this and this, but this happened. Oh, she says, oh, my husband owns a garage. They do all the buffing work, and you take it to him and he'll take care of it. So I have actually taken the car there. They did the buff work. Yes, I paid. But eventually, because I did that and she gave me that, eventually when she was starting a business, she came to me for a website. Boom. I turned that adversity moment into a business opportunity.
But you did it unknowingly, Jay, that
unknowingly, time. Yeah.
Maybe now you wouldn't, but at that time, yes.
At the time, yeah.
Sharky, you want to add?
That is your perception and how you handle the situation.
Yeah.
I want to show you, show you the box of t-shirts. So it comes in this.
Oh my God, he really is showing.
So it's nice, sexy sleek box. So
it looks nice.
I can't show you the t-shirt away today for all the panelists, Sharky.
Pardon?
I said you're giving away for the panelists today.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Not a free giveaway for the panel.
Sharky, so you're only getting a look of the box for the t-shirt and not the t-shirt itself?
Not the t-shirt. You guys got paid $100 for the
Oh my God. Now he did a sales pitch right here, right now. Now look at that.
That's my condensed.
He didn't even take 45 seconds, Sharky.
That's 10 seconds. That's my condensed 10-second pitch.
Okay, that is awesome. I think we've answered a lot of questions that I've got. It was wonderful having you guys here. It was an opportunity for me to network with friends and talk about networking, which has become such an important part, especially for people who have social phobia. It becomes very difficult to get out and talk to a group which you don't know, whom you've never met. So having the do's and don'ts, why it is important, because small businesses, people who start their own businesses have a lot of things on their mind, and this takes a second step. Like, they don't know how to network. So knowing why it is important for business opportunities, creating friendships, and creating those contacts, which might have contacts which will land you your business, is so very important. So my suggestion would be, like, go ahead, network. Like Sharky said, there are a lot of groups. Like Jay himself has a group, Sharky has a group. Go to their groups, network until you find people or leads for your business. And also on the way, find some nice friends who you can network with all the time, and who you can keep them boxed up like the stack of cards in your pockets. So Nero, that was a hilarious story. I would love to hear about it more, but not right now, maybe. Thank you so much, each one of you, for coming here and sharing your experiences, sharing how it is done. And we will see you when we see you again. So good night. Anything else you guys want to say, please go ahead. Otherwise, it's a nighty night.
I don't think we got everybody's contact information. So Sharky, Jay, how would we find you guys?
Like I can be found on Facebook, but I also have a networking group called Landed for Success. We do provide a platform for people to come and network. And like you said, thank you for, I wanted to acknowledge Public Allies for doing a tremendous job. And thanks for having me. And like I said, I can be contacted via Facebook or through a group that we have about 14,000 members in our public group. You can come and promote your business. It's all free. So if you can find us on anywhere.
Yeah. Sharky, how do?
Oh, just connect with me on Facebook. Just look for Sharky Liu, Liu. Yeah, it's Facebook.com/Sharky.liu. I think, yeah, that's my thing. So yeah, the best way is to just message me on Facebook.
And your Facebook platform?
Oh, the group. Oh yeah, the Toronto Entrepreneurs and Startups. So if you're entrepreneur, startup, or just a human being, come join.
Yeah, aliens are not invited and not welcome. So only human beings are. So please go ahead, join their groups. They're awesome. Believe me, I started networking only because of LFS, because I joined them. And then now I'm here doing it all on my Public Allies platform. So yeah, these are some wonderful people who can teach you more. So thank you, Neeru. If you want any financial advice, you know where to go. Neeru, Padmanabhan, and she's here on Public Allies. You can either contact her or you can contact me. I will let her know. No problems. See you all and good night.